everybody. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Bellingham. So grateful that we have all of you here and all of you there. Welcome. Gratitude today has to do with our band because our dear music director discovered that their family had been exposed to COVID. And so kind of spur of the moment, Leo said, absolutely. And Eric and Robin are helping back him up. So yay for music and yay for all of us. So why don't we go to that now and have some lovely music.
Joy, joy, I still got joy. Joy, joy, I still got joy. Joy, joy, I still got joy. After all I've been through, I still got joy. Joy, 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 I still got joy. Joy, joy, I still got joy. Joy, joy, I still got joy. After all I've been through, I still got joy. Love, love, I still got love. Love, love, I still got love. Love, love, I still got love. After all I've been through, I still got love. Truth, 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 I still got truth. Truth, truth, I still got truth. Truth, truth, I still got truth. After all I've been through, I still got truth. Peace, 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 I've still got peace. Peace, peace, I still got peace. Peace, peace, I still got peace. After all I've been through, I still got peace. Joy, 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 I still got joy. Joy, joy, I still got joy. Joy, joy, I still got joy. After all I've been through, I still got joy. After all I've been through, I still got joy. So,
Just take a moment, say hi to everybody.
okay. Okay. Do I tell you? I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just what I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I'm getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome. My soul is welcome here. 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 My soul is welcome here.
Thank you for the beautiful music. Hello. My name is Francine Kitchen, and I'm your practitioner of the day, along with Wanda Maddox, who's dressed in a beautiful 3 shades of brown today. And please silence your cell phones and quiet your mind and prepare to listen to today's service. Divine power and presence permeates all that is, even unto the infinite variety of particular people, places, and things. We come together again this morning as one congregation of spiritual, compassionate beings, creating a world that works for everyone. It is with joy and gratitude that we open our hearts and minds to receive the highest wisdom that is available to us today. And so it is.
You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth. And who you are and all you do is a blessing to the world. Join with me. You are the heart. You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth. And who you are and all you do is a blessing to the world. We are the heart. We are the heart. We are the hands. We are the voice of spirit on earth. And all we do, and all we do is a blessing to the world. Again, we are the heart. We are the heart. We are the hands. We are the voice of spirit on earth. And all we are and all we do is a blessing to the world. I am the heart. I am the heart. I am the hands. I am the voice of spirit on earth. And all I am and all I do is a blessing to the world, is a blessing to the world. This next song is one that I wrote, but I chose it for today because I think it perfectly expresses an idea in Andrea's talk title. It's about how I see the divine in the little things around me. When a sunset takes your breath away, or a gentle whisper tells you everything's okay, when you look into a baby's eyes, or simply feel that knowing from somewhere deep inside, that's what I call God. God, invisible but real, a mystery I can feel, that's what I call God. grace shown on every face. That's what I call God. When I see the mountains bursting with new life, or catch a glimpse of heaven in someone else's eyes, I find my life is bigger than my dreams, and how the love surrounds me with everything I need. That's what I call God. God. Rainbows in the sky, breeze and butterflies. That's what I call God. God. Older than the stars, the truth of who we are. That's what I call God. Oh, there's something wiser than my wisdom, more loving than my heart, bolder than my spirit, burns in me, something braver than my courage, stronger than my strength, brighter than my glory, breathes in me. That's what I call God. Older than the stars, the truth of who we are. That's what I call God.
Yep, that was perfect. Thank you, Leo, and thank you, Robin and Eric. Wonderful. So we start a new month. I can't believe it's June. Can you? It's going to be Christmas before we know it. So the theme for this month is sweeping the path. And it's a reference to a very ancient practice in Zen temples. And in Zen temples, starting in Japan, but everywhere now, one of the early masters, who was called Pie Chang, had an influx of monks. And the reason he had the influx is, at that time, the government was conscripting everybody into the military. And they also were charging householders big taxes to pay for the soldiers that they were conscripting. And so the only way out of that for men was to become a monk. So all of a sudden, Pie Chang had all these monks. I forget if he was in China or Japan now that I think about it. Anyway, so all the new monks thought, oh, this is a piece of cake, sit on the cushion for a couple hours, read some Buddhist texts, have some sake or whatever, and all will be well. So after a while of this, Pie Chang was like, no work, no food, Zen teaching. And so all of a sudden, all of these new recruits were conscripted into doing everyday tasks, but in a very different way. So they were encouraged to put into practice what they were learning on the cushion and in the readings they were being given, but to actually practice them in daily life. And so one of the very first practices that they were given was sweeping. And maybe you've seen the beautiful gardens that are made of sand with these big boulders, and there's a little rake, and they meticulously, and leave no footprints, meticulously make these patterns. Well, that came out of this tradition of being meticulously present, sweeping the path, which could be the path to the monastery or the path to your heart, depending on if you're a metaphor person like me. So that's why we're speaking about this all month, is there's a part of being grounded in spirit that requires us to blend the everyday with something much deeper. And so my talk today has to do with the extraordinary and the ordinary, hence Leo's wonderful song. And I thought it was really appropriate to speak to this today because if you're like me, you may feel like the world seems to have gone mad. And there's so much suffering and so much pain present in so many different sectors of the world that it would be very easy for us to lose hope. I don't know if you feel that way, but I certainly have had to wrestle that to the ground, like Jacob and the angel. No, there is reason for hope, and hope matters. So I, of course, when I'm in that state of really needing to remind myself of the spiritual depths that we share, one of the things that came to me was a story, which is so lovely that the universe goes, oh, you need a story? Here. So the story I actually shared with Kalish on a walk this week was about an art professor in New York. And he was talking about the weeks immediately after 9/11, another very difficult time for all of us. I bet you remember exactly where you were. I do. And so this art professor, they finally were allowed to go back to the university that was only a few blocks from Ground Zero. And when he got there, all of his fellow professors of arts of various things, printmaking and drawing and sculpting, were sort of aimlessly wandering around the department. And so, he was standing there kind of watching this for a minute, and he got everybody together and he said, what's going on? And they said, well, what's the point? What's the point? This isn't going to change the world. Art doesn't change the world. And he said, I didn't know what to say to them, because for me, that was like saying, well, beauty is redundant. Love has no purpose. He said, of course art matters, but matters not in the way that they were thinking, but in a much different way. And so tacked onto that story was another story. And I looked it up because I wanted to make sure it was true, and it is. When the American soldiers were liberating Buchenwald, which was one of the concentration camps, they were actually dismantling the camp. And as they were doing that, they found in the electrical wiring, stuffed up into the electrical wiring, these thick wads of paper. And as they took it down, they realized it was really bad toilet paper, thick wads of bad toilet paper. And on the toilet paper were poems that were written by the people that knew they were going to be taken into interrogation and likely killed. And the storyteller was saying, here were these people facing their imminent death, their demise, and they wanted their voice to be heard in the world. They wanted to bring meaning and purpose to their last days. And I thought, okay, that's a great story for today, because part of what we're called to do is to really pay attention to that something inside of us. And I believe it's inside everyone, but I also believe that the awareness of it can be lost in the mundane. Inside each of us is this awareness or this knowing that there's something more than the mundane. We know it, and sometimes we can even name that, but most of the time the mundane calls to us so strongly that it's easy to get lost. And so what I believe is that it's absolutely essential for sacred humans like you and me and everyone to pay attention to what that is, what the more is. And for me, part of the trick is not allowing ourselves to think that speed, distraction, and constant activity will get us to more, to that place. It won't. Maybe you've tried. It's super easy to get sucked into it. I was at Jiffy Lube yesterday getting an oil change, and I had never done that at Jiffy Lube, and they have you stay in your car. So I'm in this really smelly garage with lots of noise and 3 mechanics, and I'm in my car, and I'm absolutely happy to be playing a game on my phone. So there are times for distraction. But what I also notice is that there are times when this takes me away from the more I'm speaking about. And so I'm a big fan of this guy. I don't know if you've heard of him. A lot of people haven't, but his name is Pico Iyer. Have you heard of him? Oh my goodness, he writes these incredible books, and he's a very interesting cat. And so one of the things that Pico Iyer said, he said, in a world that seems to, let's see, how does he put it? Wait, over here. In an age of speed, nothing can be more invigorating than going slow. In an age of distraction, nothing feels more luxurious than paying attention. In an age of constant movement, nothing is more urgent than sitting still. And I thought, now that, he could be talking right to me. So let me break that down for you a little bit and tell you why I think that's important and how it relates to seeing the extraordinary in the ordinary. So it turns out that although we may have an awareness that we're walking in 2 worlds at the same time, the mundane and the more, the other, the divine, I would call it, and that we're constantly walking in both worlds at the same time, we're not focused on the divine at all. We're focused on getting things done and doing things and having the trash out and going to the grocery store and all the things that are required so that we can feed ourselves and have money and distract. And so it turns out that it's very difficult for most people, maybe all people, I'm not sure, to actually touch into the other place we're walking without slowing down and without paying attention. And because we have a serious case of FOMO in our society, fear of missing out, FOMO, we can often be walking in a world of incredible, extraordinary presence of the divine, that's how I think of it, without even being awake to it, without even seeing it, without even recognizing it. And yet it's there all the time. It's all over the bloody place, really, it is. And you know this, because you've had moments where all of a sudden it broke through the mundane, do, and all of a sudden, whoa, there it was. And in that jolt of awakening, something happened to you. Do you remember? What happens is that the part of our being that's been walking only in the mundane world has a break. And something else comes in, and it's like putting a healing balm on a wound, or having the best mother in the entire world wrap you with a hug and just hold you for a while. That's what happens when we allow ourselves to pay attention to the other world we're walking in. It's actually medicine for the soul. It restores us to our true being. And so for me, that's the point of the spiritual path, is to begin to practice in such a way that every day, not just sometimes, not just accidentally, not just if you've had a whole lot of wine and you've turned your mind off or whatever, but every day, intentionally, there's this ability to be present in the extraordinary world of the divine, to feel the presence of that. And by presence, I don't I know that the old idea of God was anthropomorphic, but in the science of mind, it's not so much that. It's more a felt sense of this incredible energy, and I call it presence because I can feel it, can't you? I can feel this otherness that is in me, around me, and through me. So it's not really other, but it's more. That's why more is the word of the day today. So we need the experience of this other presence, this all-pervading medicine for the soul, for a couple of reasons. The first is that when we are in our daily lives and we are exposed to that presence, we're given the opportunity to see our true self clearly, to actually come back into our whole self and recognize ourselves again. Almost like David White has this poem that says, one day you'll go to the door and meet yourself again. So it's like that. Every time we're in the extraordinary, we have a mirror that shows us our true nature, which is whole and complete and perfect and doesn't need to be distracted from itself and doesn't need to go faster and faster, doesn't need to have all these outer experiences, but rather needs us to be with it, that true self. But at the same time, when we contact the extraordinary and the ordinary, another thing also happens, is all of a sudden, have you ever shifted your focus and you were looking at something one way and then all of a sudden your gaze shifted, like those 3D pictures, which I can never get, where you're looking at one picture and underneath it says, see the dancing dolphins in the water? And I'm like, no, I don't see the dancing dolphins in the water. I see this face, But eventually, if you can move your perception, there they are. Well, when we move our perception to the extraordinary, what begins to happen is the world that we thought we were walking in is not the world we're walking in. And it's a fantastic recognition. It's phenomenal because all of a sudden hope is restored. We can love again in a much clearer and deeper way, because here we are in this amazing world of spirit, of presence, of more. And it's not just this wacky world of ours where things seem to be going sideways all the time. No, there's something else happening. And I'm telling you, it's a very powerful thing to be able to shift into that perception. Rumi, of course, famously said, out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there's a field. I'll meet you there. That's what he's talking about. He's talking about this shift in perception where all of a sudden all of the judgments, the criticisms, the us and thems, all that drops away. The presence of something vast and love and wise is revealed. And here we are, kind of pinned by the light of that recognition. And it's a fantastic thing. And what Ernest Holmes says about it, who's the founder of our philosophy, he says in his very antique kind of way, the silence of the soul's communion with the great cause of all being, back of the ceaseless roar of life, we then will find, if we find that place, we shall find a safe resting place. And this is the part that I'm interested in, and a real spiritual power. Why am I interested in that? Well, it goes back to sweeping the path a little bit. Well, it's wonderful to accidentally happen upon the extraordinary and the ordinary. That's always such a fun thing happening. How many of you have had that happen? Come on, really? I know you have. It comes in different ways. That's great, but my interest as a spiritual teacher and spiritual traveler is to have that experience intentionally all the time. And so for me, when Ernest Holmes says, when we are able to commune with that reality, it's a resting place, that's the medicine, but it's also a place of real spiritual power. Why is that important? Well, for me, it's become crystal clear that if I'm not seated in that spiritual power that I was gifted at birth, and so were you, I can easily become deeply discouraged and feel vulnerable and powerless all at the same time. Yes? And I don't like that. Do you? I don't like feeling like that. And I actually don't believe that's actually true about us. But I can understand why we would feel that way if we're not in touch with this deeper reality that we're grounded in, that we're rooted in, where real spiritual power comes. Now, what is that? What is real spiritual power? Have you ever asked yourself that? For me, it's a host of abilities that come from residing in the world that is underneath or around or through the mundane. So some of those abilities that you may have practiced without realizing that you're touching into your spiritual power. Forgiveness. Anybody have to forgive someone? Is it like the hardest thing you've ever tried to do? Yes. 7 years takes a while. But when we touch into this place, there is something that moves in us that is far beyond the right-wrong mind, the judging mind, the victim mind. It's much vaster than that. And it takes all of the outer circumstances and says, oh, my dear, you don't want to live there. Come be here in this. And so power moves through, and there's an intentionality to love that heals wounds of the heart and the mind. So that's one. That's only one of the real spiritual power abilities that is accessed when we walk in the extraordinary. The other one, my favorite, is actually love, to put it very succinctly. Now that may sound like, piece of cake, right? Really? It isn't for me. For me, a lot of the times I'm like, what are they thinking? And stuff like that. And tapping down into the extraordinary presence of the divine, I come to a different place, a place of tremendous love, unconditioned love that realizes that this human dilemma of living as we do makes people the way they are, and yet underneath everything and through everything, they are priceless beings, sacred beings. There's an old Tibetan story about, maybe you've heard me tell it, I haven't told it for a long time. It goes like this. There is a world that is completely covered with ocean. And at the very bottom of that ocean lives a giant tortoise, a turtle of vast proportions, who only comes up for air once every 1,000 years. And as rare as it would be for that enormous tortoise to come up for air and put its neck through a tiny ring floating on the surface of that world of water, as rare as it would be for him to find that ring and come up through it, that's how rare our human life is. Are you living that way? Remember that story the next time it feels hopeless. Remember that we were actually gifted this life, that it's rare and it's sacred. And when we walk in that way, the world reveals itself in ways that we didn't even know were possible. And the surging presence of the divine finds ways to work in us and through us and as us that if we were to think about it from the mundane mind, we wouldn't think were possible. We wouldn't think we could love like that. We wouldn't think we could be kind like that. We wouldn't think that we can be compassionate like that. We wouldn't think we could do what we're doing. But when we're touched into that rare life of ours, that place where the Spirit walks in us, everything becomes possible. And the old injunctions from so many spiritual teachers, love thy neighbor as thyself, which seems impossible when you're in the mundane world, becomes like, duh, in the spiritual world. And it's like, of course, we're having a rare experience together. This is it, as the Zen folks say. So this week, I'm giving you a homework assignment. I do this from time to time. Most of you forget right away. I think about your teachers in 3rd grade. So here's the assignment. For at least one day this week, walk slowly. Pay attention. Notice what comes into your heart, and then share it with someone. Okay, so there's 4 parts. Walk slowly. Everybody say that. Walk slowly. Pay attention. Pay attention. Notice what comes into your heart and mind. And share about it. You got it. You'll get a gold star from Zena, who's speaking next week, if you remember. All right, so let's do a prayer. In the quiet of this moment, there is love abounding. Not love tied to a person or a place or a thing, but love unfolding each of us. There is something in each one of us that knows that is awake in a world that is not the mundane world, but is around and through and under. And that world is spirit. And that world is love. It knows nothing of differences or conflicts or any of that. What it knows is its own precious beingness in us, each one. And so I accept for myself, and I know for anyone that would accept this treatment, a renewed awakening to the level of living where I am known and I know myself to be spirit in action. And as I return to that place in and through me, I realize that it is seeking to be loved by means of me in a very unique way. That love is seeking to be expressed in the mundane world of comings and goings. And so I listen deeply. I pay attention. I hear what is being asked of me personally by this love. And then, regardless of my own mundane fears, I follow it, trusting that the extraordinary is speaking to me and through me to bring about in the ordinary world powerful love. I'm so grateful to realize this. I'm grateful to see in my mind's eye all of you who are listening, also listening, paying attention, diving deep, and then telling about it. What a gift that so many of sacred humans around the world are willing to be love in action. We are blessed indeed to know this. I'm grateful for it. Will you say with me, and so it is. Thank you. Thank you. Well, we're going to have the band come up, and we're going to have the ushers come forward. And if you would like to donate to the center, we deeply appreciate the gifts, financial gifts, your volunteer gifts, and just your love for one another and for what we're doing here. So come on up, ushers, and let's hear what you've got to say.
All good, holy, holy. is good. Holy, holy. Let me know all is good. Holy, holy.
How wonderful. Hi, everybody. I'm Reverend Zena, and I'm here for some announcements today. And before I begin, what a talk, right? Yeah, thank you. And Leo, wow. The band, thank you so much. Our tech team who makes this all possible. We love and adore you. Yeah. So just before I begin, I want to also mention that everything I say now can be also explored at the Ask Me desk. This is a wonderful hub for you to go to, register for classes, get more information about different happenings here at the center. I'd like to talk to you today about my Emerging from Grief class. This begins this Wednesday, June 8th, and it's from 6 to 8:30 p.m. And it's both an integrated and an in-person offering. And you can get more information at the Ask Me desk. But what I'd like to say about it is that it's a perfect opportunity for those who are really sort of in this part of the grief process where there's this emerging kind of a light that is calling you out into the world again and wanting to use spiritual practices to not only nurture that part of us that is grieving or has grieved, but also to look at how it can benefit others and move into the world in a different and higher level in consciousness. So I welcome anyone who's interested. Today is the last day to register, and we'll see you all on Wednesday, I hope. The next thing I'd like to talk to you about is Dr. Andrea is offering up her Exploring Inner Wisdom Soul Collage. It's a 4-week class, and this begins next week on Thursday, and it starts June 16th from 6 to 8 p.m. This is a wonderful opportunity. Dr. Andrea is an expert and a master at doing the soul collage process. Many of you have experienced it before, and if you have, it's a rebirthing time to do it again. And for those who haven't, it's a wonderful opportunity to really take a grabbing from the invisible, all of these heart-centered inner wisdom callings that you want to bring out into the world and giving visual representation to them through a 5x8 card that is part of this process. And so it's a wonderful inner growth opportunity for anyone who's interested. I also want to tell you about this wonderful thing we're doing, which is looking at inviting people for our trail restoration. Many of you know that the center, and many don't, that the center sits on 7 sacred acres. And these acres we're the stewards for this land. And so we're calling for individuals to come together and work together to start to rehabilitate, restore the trails, giving more boundaries and more distinct trail markings for visitors to be able to enjoy these beautiful grounds. So please, if you're interested in that, it's kind of a party that they're talking about. So you're going to get some snacks and get to meet here next Saturday, June 11th from 10 to 1 p.m. And your help is definitely welcomed, and we welcome anybody who's new to come and kind of let us get to know you a little bit. And our men's group meets next Sunday, right after the meeting at 12 noon. The meeting is the gathering. You all know that, though, right? And so that's going to be facilitated by Philip. Philip's right there. There he is, out in the back room. It's an integrated offering, so you can also Zoom in if you prefer. This is a perfect place for males or those that identify as males to come and enjoy this consciousness building in a group, in a supportive environment, to really look at the conscious awareness of their spiritual magnificence as a group in growing in spiritual walk on this planet, which Dr. Andrea was so beautiful at telling us about. Okay, well, that's about all I have for us today. Thank you for your time, your attention, and I hope that you go out and enjoy this day and do the homework assignment that we've been offered. We're going to go ahead and have the music close out and have Dr. Andrea come up here and dance with me a little bit.
Okay.
Enjoy your day.
You want to dance too? Why don't you stand up? Okay,
This
Leo.
song is called "I Choose Love," and it may be new to you, but if you can kind of follow along, I'd love to hear your voices. You kind of pick it up as it goes along. Here we go. Peace in my life is growing because I choose love. Love always present, it's what I'm made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one tie that binds us that can't be undone. I choose love. Peace for our planet is growing because I choose love. Let love be present, it's what we're made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one. One choice unites us. Let this be the one. I choose love. I choose love. I choose love. Thank you, everybody. Have a great week.